Good night to all beautiful viewers, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Haus and Home. I'm your host Lisa, and it's great to have your company. Now, if you've been following us, thank you through. And if you just joined us for the first time, this is the 28th episode of Haus and Home. Now, we have a great lineup for you tonight. As usual, we start the show with cooking, and this time our bestie from Besta takes us up to the beautiful East Sepik province to prepare us another delightful recipe. Here it is.
Hi viewers, and welcome to another Cooking with Besta. I'm Noelyn, your Besta Bestie, and I'm coming to you from Wewak Boutique Hotel, located on Wewak Hill, overlooking the Bismarck Sea. And tonight we're cooking Besta Tuna Chunks in oil, vermicelli and cabbage. This recipe is very simple, so we're gonna go ahead now and go through our ingredients. These ingredients you can find anywhere in any local supermarkets or in your garden. So firstly, we have oil, at least 1 or 2 tablespoons, it depends, ginger, diced onions, and that also depends depending on the amount of heads you have in your family or the occasion, garlic, 2 to 3 cloves, and over here we have sliced carrots and spring onions. Water again, it depends whether you'll be cooking for 2 or 3 or more. It depends how many cups you're going to be using to the recipe. And 1 egg. And we have our round cabbage, sliced round cabbage, our bok choy. We're doing vermicelli and cabbage tonight with tuna chunks in oil. Vermicelli, if you don't know what vermicelli is, but I know a lot of you because you cook out there, is rice noodles. And it's optional. You can use any noodles you want, but tonight I'm using rice noodles, vermicelli. Also, we're going to be adding salt. That's optional to taste, as well as magic taste, or you may know it as MSG. And lastly, the star ingredient for our recipe tonight is Besta Tuna Chunks in oil. So we'll go ahead now and get into cooking our recipe, our delicious and tasty recipe. So we're just gonna turn our heat onto medium. So we'll just go ahead and add our oil. Also take note, like I said, it's optional. I'm only adding a bit of oil here because later on, the best thing about Besta Tuna in chunks, it already has oil packed with the fish. So we'll add that in later. Our ginger, onion, saute that around. You don't want it to burn, but you want it to be lightly brown. Ginger, then we're going to add in our Besta tuna in chunks. I'm using 2 tins tonight because of the amount I'm cooking for. So I've allowed it to saute and slightly cook through for 2 to 3 minutes. I am now going to add our carrots, sliced carrots, and spring onions. So I'm gonna give this a minute or 2 to simmer, and we're not gonna let it cook through too much, but because we're in Wewak, I'll just give you a brief history of Wewak. During 1943 to 45, Wewak was actually the largest Japanese Air Force based in the mainland of Papua New Guinea. So Wewak has a lot of history. The next time you're here, please come and stay at the beautiful Wewak Boutique Hotel. It is beautiful, it is pleasant, the staff here are great. We'll just check this out. Yes, looking good. As mentioned, you don't want to put too much oil because Besta Tuna Chunks in oil has enough oil. And now we're gonna add in our vermicelli, rice noodles as some may know it. We're gonna stir that around a little bit, lik tasol. Mix all that through. And this is where the water comes in. So, like I said, depending on how many heads you're cooking for, doesn't matter. The amount of water will depend on how many heads you're cooking for. We're gonna actually let this come to boil, and then we're gonna add in our cabbage, pak choy, and egg. Besties, looks like our Besta Tuna Chunks in oil and vermicelli is ready now to add our cabbage. I'm only using probably like quarter here cabbage. And always remember, you know, Besta recipes, whatever vegetables you have available in your house or in your backyard, growing in your garden, anything goes with Besta products. So we're gonna mix all that in, and we're also going to add in our pak choy now. Once we do that, we're gonna mix it all up. Viewers, as we allow our cabbage and bok choy to cook through for the next 1 to 2 minutes, just a friendly reminder from Besta, COVID is here to stay, so if you're going to cook, eat, always remember to wash your hands before and after. If you're going to cough, always make sure you cover your mouth or you cough into your elbow. And now we're gonna go and check our vermicelli and cabbage with tuna Besta chunks in oil. Well, it's boiled through and it looks ready. So last, I'm gonna break an egg. The egg is optional. Depending, again, I'm only using 1 egg. We're gonna break this into our tuna chunks and vermicelli and cabbage. We're going to stir this around. Give it a good stir. And I know all you besties out there have cooked with egg in your soup, or when you're making chicken corn soup, or basically the egg is just to help thicken the soup a little bit. And lastly, add salt to taste. Again, I don't have any measurements for the salt because it depends how many heads you're cooking for. I'm also adding a bit of magic taste. As you know, some of you may know it as MSG. So again, to taste. And it looks like our Besta Tuna Chunks in oil, vermicelli and cabbage is ready. And we're ready to plate up. Viewers, our Besta Tuna Chunks in oil and vermicelli and cabbage is ready. So I'm just gonna plate this up now. As mentioned, like all the Besta recipes, you can cook this any time of the day. But I would prefer having this particular recipe for probably dinner time because it's nice and soupy as well, or on a cold night. So put all that in there, and we're just gonna put some of the soup in here. And there you have it. Viewers, I've just garnished our dish with some spring onions, but you can use any garnish you want. And there you have it, Besta Tuna Chunks in oil, vermicelli and cabbage. And remember, It's better with Besta.
Thank you, Noelyn, for that awesome recipe. Now, viewers, you can grab that Besta Tuna Chunk at any retail stores near you and cook it yourself at home. We'll take a quick breather, and when we come back, we have home decor next. Since the ban of plastic bags here in the city, we tend to buy reusable ones when going shopping. Now, every time you go shop, you buy a new bag and the routine continues. And then you realize that all the shopping bags that you buy every time you go shop keeps increasing. Now, you might be wondering, in the last episode of Home Decor, I showed you how to make a bag out of a t-shirt. This time, I will be showing you how to make a storage bag using the reusable plastics that you have at home. This is a simple DIY that you would like to do yourself at home during this lockdown to pass time. For this project, you will need a reusable shopping bag, any color of your liking, any fabric of your choice, a scissors, and a glue gun. Or you can use a thread and needle. Firstly, fold the bag as shown and cut the sides. Then fold into layers. Then cut the fabric. Using the glue gun, glue the pieces together. Glue the fabric onto the bag to hold the layers together. And your storage bag is ready to use. You can store your stationery, sewing kit, and any item of your liking. There you have it, viewers. I hope you learned something new on this segment. And always remember that home decor is no longer for experts. You can become one as long as you're willing to spend time and come up with some creative ideas. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we have Theresa with sewing. Welcome back. Now, if you just joined us, you're watching House and Home. Up next, we have Theresa with another outdoor sewing. This time, Theresa shows us how to make a reversible bag. Now, if you're a mother at home and would like to try something new, this is just for you.
Hey, welcome to Quick Stitch. I hope you still remember the last episode on how to make your own no-sew shopping bags or a tote bag on Quick Stitch. Now, on this bit, I will be showing you all how to make a simple storage bag but it's a reversible storage bag. So you can use this for shopping, and it fits heavier. This is much more thicker than the tote bag I showed you in the last episode. So let's get straight into it. All right, the first step is to work on the handles. Now, if you have been watching my previous projects on Quick Stitch, this is how I did handles, like folding in half right into the center and folding in again. But for now, I am going to just fold in half, like so. And I'm gonna make a long straight stitch all the way down. All right, these are the handles. The next step I'm gonna do is use a safety pin to flip this right side out. So I'm gonna use this. Let's go. And we're gonna work on the other piece as well, other strap. All right, so these are the handles. What we're gonna do is we're gonna run straight stitches all the way down on both sides. So we have one stitch already on this side, and we're going to do another straight stitch. Okay. So these are the handles. So the same process will apply to the other strap as well. So you can see that we have both stitches. We had stitches on both sides. So after the handles, we're gonna work on the body of the storage bag. Now I have, because it's a reversible bag, the reversible bag includes a lining as well. So the lining is the inside part of the bag. So we're gonna join this, the first handle, to the lining. So what I'm gonna do is inset this like so. Just flip this back and set this together with this, and place another piece on top, and we're gonna run a straight stitch all the way down. So I'm using a seam allowance of a 1/2 inch. All right, now I'm done sewing the first strap together with the lining. So this is how it's gonna look like. There you go. And that is our handle sewn together with the lining. This is how it's gonna look like. And let's just put this aside and work on the other piece as well. Another strap with the outside part of the bag. Now, as you can see, I'm working on the outside part of the bag, and the same process will apply. So I'm just gonna fold this flip this one and insert the handle. So we're gonna start sewing here all the way down. So remember, we're using a seam allowance of 1/2 inch. All right, so this is the outside part of the bag. Now what we're going to do is place it on the flat surface and add the lining. So the lining is the inside part of the bag, like so. There you go. And we are going to sew all the way down. Sew the pieces all the way down. All right, so we're done with the outside part of the bag. The next step is to join the lining and the outside part of the bag together. Now you can see that I am placing the first 2 pieces with the handle on the flat surface and this piece on top. So the lining on top of the outside part of the bag, and make sure that the right sides are facing each other. So once you have set your pieces together, make sure that you leave an opening here, like so. This is an opening. This is gonna be where the opening is. So I'm gonna start sewing here, down this way, all the way around, and I'm gonna stop here so that we have an opening. Let the needle stay in, lift up the presser foot and turn the whole bag around like so and start sewing. All right, so you can see that I have left an opening here. This is where I flip the bag right side out. But before we do that, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out excess fabric. All right, now before we flip the bag right side out, I'm just gonna cut this bit, cut the corners here, like so, and this is so that the corners pop out, and there's another one here. All right, so now we're done with sewing the lining and the outside part of the bag together. The next step is to flip the bag, the storage bag, right side out. There you go. I'm just gonna and pull this out. This is much more thicker than the tote bag I did in the last episode. There you go. So I'm just gonna pop out the corners. There you go. So you can see that this is the lining and this is the outside part of the bag. Now what I'm going to do next is close, run a straight stitch and close the lining, the opening that's where the lining is. Okay, so I'm going to fold in and run a straight stitch all the way to this side. All right, so you will notice that I'm using the same fabric the lining and the outside part of the bag are just the same. So with this, I'm going to use a back stitch and sew. All right. All right, so we're done closing the opening. The next thing I'm gonna do is push the lining into the bag. Okay, push the lining into the bag. There you go. Finally, I'm just gonna run a top stitch at the top part of the bag all the way around. All right, so I normally use straight stitch, but because I'm using the same plain fabric, the same color, I'm gonna use the zigzag stitch to sew all the way around. This is just to give a little bit of decoration onto the plain fabric. So we're done. So this is our reversible storage bag. You can flip it inside out and still use the lining as the outside part of the bag because it's reversible. And you can see that I've applied a decorative stitch, which is the zigzag stitch. You can use other decorative stitches as well, always when you're using plain fabric. And that's all we have for you on Quick Stitch. Don't forget to join me next time for another sewing project. Bye.
Rubber bands can come handy when putting things together. I usually use rubber band to keep my hair checked and tie stuff like pencil. Now, with these cheap hacks that I'd like to show you using rubber band, it's very simple and can improve your life daily. So let's get started. Organizing with rubber bands is something easy to do and it's super affordable. Today on Life Hacks, I'll be showing you some simple uses of rubber band. Trying to separate your toothbrushes and paste? This hack will work perfectly for you. All you need is a glass cup and some rubber band. What you do is double the bands and place them across to each other. Tired of seeing your clothes on hanger piling up at the same place and you're here struggling to find that outfit? This hack will save the day. All you need is rubber bands. If you have a particular stubborn shirt or blazer that doesn't want to stay on its hanger, you would love to try this. This hack will save you soap and keep it dry. Why not try this? Well viewers, there are a lot of ways to make your life easier using life hacks. Now we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we have a feature story next. Hi, and thank you for joining me on another color story segment with House and Home. This week, we feature a talented mother who loves flower and has a backyard garden. Let's go and take a look. Hi.
Welcome to Jackie's backyard garden.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. You know what? I just walked in and I fell in love with your flowers. Now, enough of talking. Could you just tell us about yourself?
Thank you, Lisa, for coming. I am Anna Kapera. Before I go on to talking about my backyard garden, sorry for wearing the glasses because I have sore eyes. My backyard garden here, I started it in 2018. I started it with collecting flowers. Everywhere I go, I used to collect flowers to come and plant them. I nest them. I talk to them. When I plant them, I used to say like this: when I plant you, you must grow and make me happy. And when you grow, you make me happy all the time. So every time when I have problems or like that, I used to come into the flowers and I keep sleeping in here. I even cry with them. I used to talk to them, and then I go in line to collect all of them, put them in groups and talk to them. I started it in 2018 because of my daughter going to DBTI. That was in 2018 when she was a first year student for instrumentation in technology. So when I sell flowers, I used to come back to the house, and then next day I used to give her basket to go to school. And when I thought of looking after the flowers like that, I said that it was okay to help give my basket to my children and help put bread on the table each morning to help my husband.
So I see that you do flowering plants, like you plant flowers. What were the first plants that you planted?
I started with candle trees. Candle trees, they call them musk trees. I used to have seeds from Geru Fire Station. My husband used to bring them down, and we plant them everywhere in our yard just to throw them to grow, and later we nest them in the poly bags to make them grow. So we started with musk trees, and then to palms and to mountain flakes. Those are some of the flowers. And some lilies that I collected from the road to come and plant. Sometimes I used to buy them from Stop and Shop Waigani to come and plant them.
So you plant them in poly bags and you basically sell them. Where do you sell your plants?
When I first started selling, I sold them in front of my house. I put all the palms, my candle trees, my dam canes, my snake plants, the dwarf and the tall ones, my trumpet flowers, the dark red one, my colliers. I lined them all in front, and when people came, they said, "Oh, this lady, how do you come up with all these flowers? Where do you plant them?" I said, "In my backyard." "You've got plants at your backyard?" I used to tell them, "Yeah, I've got so many of them." And then they asked me to call their names, and I called all their names, all the plants by names, and they said, "Very well, later you find a truck and bring them to stage 2 to sell them." So I started with a taxi. I used to put all of them in the taxi, and now I used to sell at Gero stage 2 in front of old Papindo, the one that bent down and they are fixing it now. So I used to sell in front of Papindo. I used to sell there. I was inspired when one of my husband's sister, small sister who works for Loluata Island Resort, she was accountant there. And then when they did Loluata Island and Mainland Resort, she asked that I could plant some flowers to plant them at Loluata Island. So I started it and I did the flowers. And then somehow, maybe some other people got the contract, so they went and planted their flowers. So I was left out. So I left my flowers just to be like that. And then that was 2017. So I just left the flowers to be like that. I gave up. I gave up planting the flowers because I plant the flowers for that reason, to bring them to plant them at Loluata Island Resort.
What you've just said, it's very inspirational. Now, could you tell us why you love what you do?
I love what I do. I love this gardening because when I do this gardening, when I don't do this gardening, I go out, tell stories on the street and gossip about people or go anywhere I want to go. But when I have this gardening, I keep myself busy doing the gardening. I can do the gardening in the morning until in the afternoon. I used to plant nests, put the grounds in the poly bags, break the flowers, nests, new ones. Old ones I put them together, the ones which are matured already I can put them together, the new ones that I nest I can put together, the bigger ones I put them in groups, and I work like that until in the afternoon. I keep myself busy. And when I see the time like it's already 3:30 or like that, I go quickly and rush to go and pick my daughter up at DBTI. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
just to keep you busy.
Yes.
Okay.
I keep myself busy.
I see on your Facebook page you name JT. You name your gardening plants, selling of your plants JT. Why JT?
JT is the name of all of us in the family. J is my fourth-born son's name. It's J. Okay. A is for Anna, myself. Y is for Yvonne, my daughter, the one at DBTI. T is for Theresa, their big sister. Okay, those two T's in the middle is for Senior Edward and Junior Edward. And S is for Sitske. That's why we call it JT's backyard gardening.
Wow, that's really nice. That's a beautiful name to name a gardening business. Now, could you just show us what you have in your garden?
Sure, Lisa. Let's go. Because these candle trees are very high demanding. Okay. So I always sell them for 10 kina when they are a bit matured. But like this ones, I used to sell them for 50 kina.
Okay. So I see that there's a lot of planting going on here. Who's in your team?
I have my children, my auntie,
Okay.
This to help me and do this planting.
I am Mary. Mrs. Kapera is my niece. I don't live here, but I came visiting her one day, and I saw that she has this beautiful garden of plants, her palms and the famous candle tree, and there's various plants here, beautiful ones. So I asked her, how did you get this done? And she said, I grew them in a year, and I go and sell them. So in order to experience it, I went out one day with her, and we packed the plants in a cab, and we went out there, and I physically sat with her arranging the plants, and we sold them. However, unfortunately, that day was not a successful day, but I believe she does have successful days to help herself at home. But my experience was that one day, and then we came back home, and then I was thinking how I could at least help her, give her a push to expand and sell her plants. So we decided that we take the pictures of all these plants and then post them on FB, and that's when we met you, Lisa. And thank you for coming in, and here we are.
And this is Heart of Jesus. The shape of a leaf is like a heart, so they call it Heart of Jesus. It's umbrella tree because when it grows, the shape is like an umbrella. This is crown of thorns. It has long thorns, so we call it crown of thorns.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Well, viewers, that's it for this week's color story. Thank you, ladies, for your time.
Thank you, Lisa, and I've got here's a flower for you.
Thank you. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we have more. Stay watching. Welcome back. Now, with the recent update of COVID-19 cases, always wash your hands at all times and always practice social distancing. And when you're outdoor, wear a mask at all times. Up next, we have Quinten showing us how to use a family Google app. Here it is.
Hi, I am Q and welcome to Tech People. For this segment, we will look at internet safety. The internet is a great place to go to do your schoolwork and learn many different new and educational things. The internet is a great place to share your art, music, creative writings, and discuss ideas with your peers. Having said all that, parents may feel reluctant to let their kids or teenagers explore the internet. Here's an application that will put your mind at ease. The Google Family Link. As the name suggests, the application is from Google that helps parents stay in the loop as their child or teenagers explore the internet on their Android devices, mobile phones, or tablets. The app also lets parents set the ground rules for internet usage and screen time. What is Google Family Link? Google Family Link allows controls across a family group that allows parents to control their child's device to various degrees. It lets parents create a Google account for each child within the family group, giving master control to the parent's account, and it lets the parents set rules such as which app the child can use and how long for. Parents can set bedtimes for their children's device and know the location of the device at any time. So basically, here are some types of control you as a parent can have. When your child wants to download an app from Google Play Store, the parent account has to give permission for the download to start and to be installed. The parent can set internet access hours for the child's device. For example, Monday to Friday, no internet access between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. because these are school hours. Or set a bedtime for your children between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. The device will go to sleep, turning off all apps on the phone or tablet between those hours. If a child's device gets lost using the parent's account, you can track it. What would you need to get Google Family Link? Before you can use the Google Family Link, you will require 1. Create a Google account for your child within the app. 2. Have an Android device for the child with an Android 7.0 or Nougat or higher, that is the operating software on the device. Most new phones and tablets will have that. Number 3, download the Google Play app, which is free, but your only cost for this would be the data charges for downloading. To recap, with the Family Link app, you can approve or block apps your child wants to download from Google Play Store. You can monitor their screen time, including checking out how much time they spend on their favorite app. It lets you set screen time for each device linked to the Family Link app. Manage apps your child use, approve or block apps to be downloaded. Keep an eye on the screen time. See how much time spent on the app with a weekly report. Set daily screen time limits for the child's device. See the device location, or you can remotely lock your child's device. But the important thing is for your child to learn how to navigate the internet safely and have other people they can rely on nearby. For example, parents, older siblings, or a teacher from school. Here are some safety tips for your kids. Number 1, keep passwords safe and private, except maybe the parents should know the passwords. Number 2, do not download anything from websites or content providers that you do not know. Number 3, do not share links that ask for your permission to access your information or your contacts. Number 4, do not give personal information, which includes your home address, school, names, and phone numbers. Number 5, never send photos to strangers or people you do not know. Number 6, if you receive a mean or strange message from anyone, tell your parents or older sibling, because cyberbullying is a crime in PNG. Number 7, always turn on your privacy settings on your social medias to only friends. That way, only people you're friends with will see your posts. And that's a wrap for Tech People. I am Q. See you next time.
Well, viewers, that's all the time we have for you this week. If you want to know more about this episode, feel free to message us on our Facebook and Instagram page, or simply contact us on the details shown on your screen now. Until then, pleasant viewing. Goodbye.